when you draw the parallels between apartheid in South Africa and the Jim Crow South. And I remember the narrator, who's done beautifully by Lakeith Stanfield, says in South Africa, he's afraid of being arrested, but in the Jim Crow South, he's afraid of being shot.
Yeah.
That statement, it created such a visceral reaction in me when I heard it. How did you process that to how did you process all of that for this film? Because that's a reality, particularly for Black men.
When you're considering the human condition, those reality are similar. And by the way, that sentence is from Ernest Cole himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it reflects the reality, and it allows the viewer, whether you are in South Africa or you are here, to reflect on that, the similitude and the differences, and that it's always about seeing the world through different eyes. And I'm sure you were shocked because it revealed something about your reality. And it gives the distance. At the same time, it felt very close home. And by the way, Baldwin had the same experience going to the South. He wrote about it. He landed at the airport. He was afraid. He was afraid of every look, of what he was saying, and Medgar Evers, who had asked him to come, had warned him, just mind your own business, don't do this, don't do that. But he didn't believe it, and you can only realize that when you are there, and you have this story of Emmett Till, who had the wrong look or the wrong gesture, and that killed him. And that they tortured him, they gave him a lesson, and they killed him the brutal way possible. So yes, that moment, and indicates you that, wow, this is real. It's not a game.
Do you think that any or all of that had, and I'm theorizing here, had any play into his work disappearing and him not being found for a minute until he was close to the end?
Oh yes, I think the one of the things that were important for me is the fact that people who wrote about Ernest Cole in the following years always say, well, he was famous, this incredible photograph, and then he became homeless and disappeared. But none of them was saying what happened. None of them explained that. And for me, that was the first thing that jumped into my mind, is that I know that feeling. This is exile. This exile, brought him down like this. Exile, and not the capacity to become the artist you wanted to become. You were pigeonholed. They were asking you, as he say, he didn't want to become a chronicler of misery. But that's where the assignment they were giving him. So the mixture of those things, and you're isolated as a foreigner in a country that was supposed to be a country of milk and honey.
I want to talk about your musical choices, because they range the gamut from like Ellington to more current, jazz pieces. And I just wanted to find out what was the impetus to choose those particular pieces for the film.
As we were editing the film, it was clear for us that the film was much more than just Ernest. It was about all the others who were in exile, all the artists, all the music, all the writers. So I wanted to include everybody. I wanted for us to be immersed in that world, in that music, in that atmosphere. So yeah, the music choices were evidently mostly South African, and even Ellington. a music that is called African Flowers, which I
I'd
did.
never heard that piece before, but I
Oh,
loved it. I was like,
such a
oh, it
beautiful.
made me literally want to go and look up some more Ellington pieces when I saw the title African Flower. I was like, oh, I've never heard that piece. We've heard A Train, we've heard all these other things, the more
Yes.
mainstream stuff, but I had never heard that. So it made me want
Yes,
to
there are a
check
lot
it
of
out.
both from Ellington and Billy Strayhorn, and I
Mm.
know that because we have a screenplay on Ellington and Strayhorn, and yes, those. So I knew that beautiful piece of music, and so for me, it's always about connecting worlds and connecting and allows you, for you, by example, to discover. Well, there is Ellington who did that, because we are separated by a lot of nonsense. And my job is to connect the dots, to show that we are one world, we are one people, and we shouldn't divide ourselves, but we should be a collective.
You're absolutely right. How much of the archival footage did you actually have access to, and how much of it did you actually use?
Well, because it's the family for me is part of the project, so we had access to everything,
Oh,
and they
good.
are incredible partners because that type of work necessite all the time fact checking. I need to know the date. I need to know where was he at the time. Do you have any information about who is on that picture, etc., etc. So it's a sort of detective work all the time. And when you have an estate that, in particular, Leslie Matezelne, who's Ernest Cole's nephew, who would back and forth, answer or emails or calls. And so that was an important part of the team for an artist to know that all his material, all his legacy is safe somewhere, and somebody, his family, is taking care of it.
I want to know what it is for you that draws you to these stories of the James Baldwins, the Ernest Coles, the people that have been exiled, the people who can literally no longer speak for themselves. What is it that draws you to those stories and makes you compelled to bring it to the masses?
Baldwin, that was clear. He changed my life when I was 16, and he was a guiding light all my life. He's still one today. When I have problems deciphering what's happening in this country, I go back to him, and the answer is there. It's almost like a Bible. Ernest Cole, I just find back my youth. When I was 17 in Berlin, we were using his picture to fight the apartheid regime from abroad. Um, and my friends, my elders at the time, because I was very young, they were the one educating me. So as soon as the family came to me, it was family as well for me. It was they were close people to me, to my heart, to who I am.
Of the thousands of photographs that you saw, what is the one that still lingers in your mind to this day?
The one about the policeman and the this black
The young
family,
boy.
the young boy and the black woman and the blonde, and in the same city where actually that photo is a crime, but it still happened. And yes, pictures that basically show the ugliness and the absurdity of the beast, or the one, of course, I find the most efficient. And even though there is a humanity in it, it's about love somehow, or let's say uh, there is something human in that exchange, even though there might be, some fear, some power, power differences between the subjects there, but still there is something human in that situation.
Especially in the times that we're living in right now, where things are attempting to be erased regarding us. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time to speak to me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a great conversation. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Okay.